19-year-old TikTok and Instagram creator filmed himself treating real life like Grand Theft Auto for clout, and now got sentenced to 10 years in Texas prison. This might be one of the greatest examples of snitching on yourself for clout, and it's safe to say he found out, because today we're talking about a teenager who spent months of his life filming high-speed chases, posting them to Instagram and TikTok, taunting officers, bragging about outrunning patrol cars, and then getting caught because, shockingly, the internet is not some private diary. The police have the same social media apps as you do. Who would have thought? As of right now, both his TikTok and Instagram are completely wiped clean, not because he suddenly discovered right and wrong, but because his lawyers saw the videos and realized, oh, Tim is his own star witness against himself. That's bad. Let's delete all of that. But unfortunately, it was too late when everything got scrubbed.
19-year-old Kendall County man took deputies and Bernie police on several high-speed chases. This happened over a period of months. Now he's having to answer for it.
Yeah, Ken's Fives. Earl Stoudemire joining us live now. Earl, just how long will this man spend behind bars? And also, do we know why he did all this?
Good morning, Audrey Berry. 19-year-old Timmy DeFogel is going to have to serve a 10-year prison sentence. And one thing we know about him is that he did everything for attention. We were told that he had an Instagram account where he would post the high-speed chases online while taunting law enforcement.
So today's new entry of the Moron Hall of Fame is 19-year-old Timothy Vitaly Fogel, a guy who spent months driving his black BMW with no license plate through Kendall and Bexar counties while recording every second. And he uploaded all this footage to his social media accounts under the handle of Slow530i, a name that ironically aged pretty poorly, because nothing in the story is slow except for the thought process behind it and potentially his car as well if you compare it to anything else that's semi-fast. But he posted a whole bunch of videos showing him weaving through traffic, racing down the highway at more than 100 miles an hour, and bragging the police could not catch him. And it's just shocking because this is not a flex. The Hyundai Elantra I used to have, I could easily push 130 in it if I was dumb enough. It would take 2 business days to get up there, but still, you can do 100 plus mile an hour runs in normal cars. That's not a crazy flex. You're just a complete moron for doing so because, surprise, surprise, you're putting everyone's lives at risk, including your own. But also, I mean, you can easily get jailed. If you're on a track, have fun. If you're on a public road, you have to share the road, unfortunately. That's just life. And I think we would all prefer if our lives weren't cut short by some moron in a BMW 530i thinking he's f***ing cool. But to make things worse, he kept going to social media to brag about how the cops could never catch him. Like, with lines like, he tried but failed, and obviously he hid behind this is all AI fake footage, which I guess he placed there for some sort of deniability. But honestly, what kind of makes this funnier is this isn't the first time we've covered a genius who thinks captions like that actually help them. Because a few months ago, I covered a YouTuber by the name of Bryce Bennett, who hit 192 miles an hour on public highways and tried to avoid trouble by saying, oh, this was all in Mexico. But unfortunately, Bryce was blasting past Hartford roadsides at 190 like the cops just can't read. And now we have Fogel, who basically did the same thing, but instead of filmed in Mexico, he went with the 2024/2025 upgrade, claiming the videos were AI fake footage, which, again, isn't even original, because that's exactly what the whole Squeeze Ben's crew did under their videos, and Squeeze, he ended up getting arrested and he spent close to a year in jail. But also, after watching this case, I'm starting to realize that idiots like this are just going to use AI fake footage and expect the judge to believe it. And we're not even in the full-on AI dystopia yet, and people are already practicing their "it wasn't me, it was the algorithm" speeches. So this will get interesting pretty quickly. But in this case, the first chase happened on April 30th. A Bourne police officer by the name of Eric De La Rosa was sitting in his patrol car on an I-10 frontage road when the same BMW with no plates pulled up behind him. When the officer turned to investigate, Fogel flipped him off, hit the gas, and launched a chase that stretched into the next county before officers called it off. But then, hours later on social media, the video magically appeared on Instagram with a caption basically saying, "Nice try, cop." And then 2 weeks later, police were conducting a traffic stop standing on the shoulder, talking to a driver they pulled over. And then suddenly the same BMW blasted past them at 142 miles an hour. Not once, but twice. He then posted those videos as well with the caption, "Little flyby for the cops." And then of course, one camera pointed at the dashboard. But obviously he's fine because he wrote AI fake footage in the comments below. Or well, unfortunately for him, you know, police dash cams, timestamps, phone records, and officers all exist as well. But at late May, it got even worse because a Kendall County deputy was working on a crash scene when Fogel came flying by at highway closing speed. Another officer tried to stop him and hit a top speed of 118 miles an hour before the pursuit had to stop. And then here's the part where a lot of people might not realize, because the reason Fogel kept getting away wasn't because he was some kind of like racing prodigy or had an extremely fast car, because he had a 530i. Police actually had to stop the high-speed pursuits once they hit certain speeds. When a chase gets into the triple digits, especially near traffic or neighborhoods, it becomes a liability. So if a cop keeps pushing 130 miles an hour after the suspect, they're not just chasing one reckless driver, they're essentially just risking innocent people on the road. Because let's be real, this isn't Arkansas or Georgia where they'll just go guns blazing no matter what. I think Mississippi also does that. Don't try to outrun anyone in Georgia, Arkansas, or Mississippi, because you will find out. Even though this guy also found out, but just not in the most brutal way. If you do it in one of the 3 states I mentioned, you probably won't walk away. Because let's be real, those 3 states will chase you down like it's some scene from the Dukes of Hazzard. But I digress. So each time he crossed into Bexar County or blew past 120, officers had to call it off for safety. He wasn't some mastermind, the cops were just following procedure. So then he uploaded the next entry to, I guess, the Moron Hall of Fame. And of course, he captioned it, "Sheriffs don't do nothing again." And then he followed that with a sequel titled, Part 2 of Outrunning the Sheriff. Awesome, buddy. I get that we all do some incredibly stupid stuff before that prefrontal cortex loads in, but you would prefer not to get locked up until that thing is fully loaded in before you get it, right? Freedom is pretty nice. But on June 22nd, Officer De La Rosa spotted the same BMW again. Still no plates, driving like the world was his personal racetrack, and then suddenly, the officer turned his lights on and Fogel took off down Main Street at more than 100 miles an hour. He weaved through traffic, jumped into an oncoming lane, and nearly crashed into a police cruiser. Officers then tried to spike strip him, but then that unfortunately failed and he got away. And of course, a whole paragraph started showing up on social media of him bragging about how slow the police are. In quote, he wrote, 20 or more cops still fail, and how they suck at spiking. That just showed up on his social media accounts. So when you keep pushing your luck like that time and time again, the only place that's gonna land you is either in prison or not with us on planet Earth anymore. And honestly, if this ended here, he might have actually still been free, but police spotted him on the 4th of July, parked outside of a convenience store. Officers then walked up, asked questions, and noticed the car matched everything they saw online. The same interior, the same lighting, the same camera mounts, and even the novelty license plate that was titled, "Will Run." Imagine getting pulled over with a license plate that literally confesses. Come on. Like, obviously it's kind of a funny plate, but like, bro, what are you doing here? So this leads to him being detained, and then the police seized the footage from his dash cam. And once they got that footage, it was essentially game over because digital forensics confirmed everything. His Instagram account was registered to his phone number, his date of birth, and his email account. And also it was being accessed from his home Wi-Fi during the exact times the videos were being uploaded. They even had surveillance of him driving home after one of the pursuits, wearing the same clothes seen in the dash cam recordings. I mean, I just know the county police felt very good releasing this statement. Because let's be real, they finally caught some dude who was LARPing as a Need for Speed character, antagonizing them for months. And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, the fact that he was bold enough to do all of this in a 530i as well, that is wild, as the police charges are definitely faster than it. Because normally, you see people running away on like sports bikes because, you know, they're basically uncatchable unless the police decide, hey, we're gonna end this biker's life to stop him. That's the only way they really stop those guys, or if they willingly surrender or run out of gas. So normally, those are the people you see running away from cops. But pushing your luck in a 4-cylinder dad sedan, those things are literally designed to bring accountants to work and home again, not LARP as Paul Walker in them. But wait, it's not over yet, because here is when his lawyer finally enters like a firefighter arriving at a building that is already burned to the ground. Because Fogel suddenly wiped all the videos, deleted all the posts, and tried to erase his entire digital footprint. Unfortunately, though, the investigators had already downloaded everything, so he ended up pleading guilty to felony evading arrest and reckless driving. I saw a good amount of headlines actually pop up saying he was sentenced to 10 years. He was, that's true. The judge sentenced him to 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, hence the title of this video. So on paper, he got 10 years in prison. But there's a but, because normally these things happen. The court then suspended the actual prison time and gave him 6 years of probation instead, which means one violation, like one speeding ticket or one failed drug test, one moment where he forgets that he's driving into oncoming traffic. Hopefully he doesn't do that again. He will then have to serve the full 10 years behind bars again. So essentially, it's basically a probated sentence as of right now, like a listen real carefully or else kind of sentence. And during these 6 years, he's going to have to wear a GPS ankle monitor that tracks his speed and location, take a defensive driving course, do a community service, pass a random drug and alcohol test, hand his phone over to probation anytime they ask, and also allow them to access his social media accounts. So essentially, he just got super grounded, except by the judge instead of his parents. And he also has to write a formal apology letter to every officer he endangered, and I guess the real chef's kiss is write a personal apology letter to his parents and pay them back for every single dollar they spent on his legal fees, which is something I haven't heard of ever before, but hey, apparently that exists as well. Legally requiring someone to apologize to their mom is definitely new. So yeah, Tim wanted clout, but instead he got a government-issued ankle bracelet. And also a 10-year prison sentence, but then I guess the judge decided to be lenient and gave him something else after that instead. But other than that, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.